Okay, this is our an overwintered colony. We've been in this before. This is it's quite crowded, and I'm planning on doing a divide here. And we do have a super on it, so we'll see if there's any honey that has gotten up into this super in a week's time. Looks like the bees have moved up there pretty nice. Oh yeah, they really filled up that super with some bodies, to say the least. My camera right here. Hopefully that gave him some room. So we won't see much for swarm cells. Now with a honey super, we don't have to worry about the queen. I've got a queen excluder in there, so I can pull a frame in the center, because that's where the honey's going to be. They always start almost always in the center with honey. So I'm going to pull a center frame and just see what's happening here. And I can see they have put some honey up. Not a lot, but there is some nectar right there. There's nectar. It's not a lot, but it's been cold and the bees really haven't been foraging that much. So there is some nectar. I'm not going to check this real close. We'll go into the hive here. Like I say, I want to get another queen excluder in here if I can. We're doing a divide, and we'll do a quick look on well, I can definitely feel some weight here. So they do have some weight here. That's usually the most accurate way to tell if you got it, if you're getting honey just by the weight. So that looks like that felt like maybe 10 to 15 pounds. Okay, I'll leave that queen excluder on just because don't have to get it off, but I guess we'll just see if they've got any swarm cells here today. Now we do get brood comb going, and there's queen cups. And when you get a bunch of drone brood, you can scrape it off with your hive tool, and then it's another easier to find for swarm cells. Next time we go looking for swarm cells, if we get rid of some of this drone comb. My kid's got some chickens. Chickens love drone comb. It looks pretty bad here, but like there was a mass exodus of bee goo, but the bees will clean this up in short order. You don't want to leave drone comb laying around the hive, around the bee yard. I mean, if you don't got a bear fence, it'll draw skunks and bears and critters, and we're going to try to avoid that from happening. So I should have brought a box with me, and I did not. Okay, so I did not see anything, well, whatever cups we had there, we've destroyed them. And now we'll check this one. And they're starting to get a little testy, so we aren't gonna go too crazy here. Okay, look at the bottom here. Oh yeah, I see some capped swarm cells. And I don't know if this thing is swarmed. We're gonna find out. I'm just gonna close it up. I'm gonna cut the swarm cells. Now this time of year we can always get queens, so I'm not worried about that. But if it's in a time of the year when you don't have queens available, and that's a capped swarm cell. Right here, there's a capped swarm cell. This one here looks like it opened. There's several other swarm cells. They're there, but you can see this one here is capped. So normally when you see capped swarm cells, the hive could have swarmed. But it's really cold out. I can't tell if there's a lot of activity at the front door because it is cold out. So usually the front door gives you a good idea that yes, the bees have swarmed because of the activity or the lack of activity. When it was really a lot of bees last week, and it was, this week there wasn't, but none of the hives are really flying at all. So I'm going to take out these swarm cells, and I'll put queen excluders in, and when I come and check it in 4 days, if there's no eggs in this hive, I'm going to give it a new queen. Because it's always better, in the month of May especially, it's always better to buy a queen and install it in a package. Do not try to make a queen. Those walkaway splits do not work very good in the month of May. The odds of getting a queen bred are very low, especially this time of year. Right now, it's been so cold, the queens would never get bred. And then you'd waste all that brood. So it's a lot faster. Spend the money, buy a queen, and you're going to be way ahead. Otherwise, you let them make a queen even if it's successful. You won't have any new brood in this colony, probably for, and no emerging brood in here for almost a month. So there's no point in trying to, my smoker's almost out. There's no point in trying to cheap out and not get. There, that's the swarm cell. And it was just in milk, so it was just recently capped. There's no body, there's no larvae, or there's no nothing to say. That there was a swarm, long-term swarm cell. They just capped these recently. It could even happen today. But too cold for them to swarm, so I might have dodged the bullet here. If it had been 80 degrees out, they'd have been gone. So I'm just trying to kill all these cups. They're like there's some cups. There's a cup here, cup there. Just squash them like that. You don't have to go crazy. And look up between the frames. That's where they get tricky, and they'll put a cup up in between, and you got to stick your hive tool up there and squash it, because they're pretty tricky, these bees. All right, looks like I got the obvious ones. All right. So I'm going to keep the orientation the same. I'm not going to do a reversal. So hopefully, if they have not swarmed, now hopefully they'll know that there's no new queen coming out. So they got to make a new swarm cell, and hopefully I can beat them to the punch, do a divide, and if they have swarmed, well, get them a new queen. Okay. Part of the reason I didn't take that top queen excluder off is that sometimes if you take it off, there's always a possibility the queen could be on the underside of it, and you don't know which way you had it, what orientation. Next thing you know, your queen's up in the super. So that was part of the reason I left that on there, so then I didn't have to even think about that. So for right now, we're going to call it good. The hive is heavy with, as I was lifting it, I could tell the hive is still heavy, so it's got a lot of food. And I don't have to feed it all. I know it's got food because it's hurting my back. So that is all there is, and we're prepped for the possible doing a divide on this a little bit later in the week. It's going to warm up. The bees will put some more honey up, and maybe Friday or Saturday I'll come here and do some splits in this yard. But to be continued. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it.